This is Mathy, a political statement. The views expressed in this podcast are not reflective of the producer or the production company. Hi, my name's Russ, and I'm here with Kevin. Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
Alright, so he's going to be our, I guess, classical liberal? Is that what you would...
We'll figure out through the course of the interview.
Yeah.
I thought he ended up as anarchist in the test.
That's
Yeah,
one
I don't
test,
know.
though, and I have some concerns with how I answer certain questions on that. So.
Okay. Alright.
All right then.
Your basic belief is equality for everyone, like you said, with
equality as a basis, but then when it comes to like actually acting out your particular lifestyle, it should be based on a meritocracy.
Okay.
Like if you're going to get a job, you're not good at this job, regardless of what you are, you're not going to get this job. That's really basically, meritocracy is basically equality, if I can alliterate on that somehow. Because It's like, I had it when I first said it.
Level playing field for all, and then you're on your own, basically.
Let's just go from there, and,
okay.
And maybe it'll pop back in my head.
All right.
You mentioned equal opportunity before we...
Yeah, equal opportunity, basically, yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to do a couple of questions on like where you stand with certain things. What's your stance on immigration?
This is something I haven't really thought about too much, because I don't feel like I have enough good information to go off to form an opinion.
We'll do the current situation with Mexico and people having their kids taken away from them. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think their children should be taken away?
I think
since they are coming here
as long
legally.
as you can prove that they're actually your kids, then they should. But I know that
should be taken away.
No, they should be left with their parents.
Okay.
But if it's like, because I know there's been concern about it, whether or not they're child trafficking across the border or whatnot.
Oh, I
think
actually know that would be. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
But
it was something that
concern at this point.
Yeah, it's something I think I heard from Trump, and I'm like, it probably is a problem that he's not probably pulling that out of his ass like half the other things, but.
All right.
But anyway, but if it's.
Do you believe in open borders? Like we should let just about anybody
I think it depends on the country. Like if they have a similar, like relatively low crime rate, relatively similar kind of economic practice to us, then I think it's okay.
What about
like free trade between if there's a bunch of people that are cool with free trade, then we should free trade with them. But if there's a bunch of people who are going to be all protectionist against us, then we should be protectionist towards them.
But they're ideologically similar.
Yes, like that. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Like an EU type scenario, they all agree. Okay, we're all going to free trade between us, but then outside we have our own separate policy.
They almost all agree now.
Almost.
All right. What are your thoughts on the legalization of marijuana and other psychedelic drugs?
As long as it doesn't like really fuck you up too bad, like with meth fucks you up.
And that's for recreational and medicinal, correct?
Yes. So like weed, LSD, kind of lighter stuff. I'm fine with.
All right. What are your thoughts on the LGBT community and the legalization of their marriage and their, I guess you could say, validation?
Well, based on the things I've been hearing, it sounds like the community in general is getting pretty bad. But once again, I'm not going to claim to have all the perfect information to form a good opinion.
Okay. All right.
But
so kind of neutral ground there.
Yeah, I would say I'm fine with gay people getting married, whatever, and them having like equal rights and whatnot.
Yeah,
because there's not
people.
67 genders or whatever number anyone wants to throw out. It's like you're two, you can pick one. You do you. I don't really care.
Okay. All right.
Being told to ask an audience question. What is your position or feelings about sex trafficking?
You mean like sex workers?
Well, no, like what should be done about it, because nobody really, like in the political view sense, like nobody really ever talks about like what's going to be, because it's not just a country problem, like this is a world problem.
Yeah.
Most kids that are missing are probably being sex trafficked in like Thailand right now.
Yeah.
Like it's a problem and no one really talks about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What should be done about it?
Well, like not what should be done, but like how do you think? There's a
very specific question.
Yeah.
It's like we're not gonna like end it in a day, But I
no.
Like
we're still having trouble acknowledging gay people.
Yeah, no.
Shoot the hostage. That's the answer.
But like, how do you think it should be like talked about? Because like, my feeling is most of the reason why political people don't really talk about it is because like they're the ones that are buying some kids half the time.
Whoa.
Like that's part of like
That-
people in the government probably
Okay.
are involved.
Like how half of all Republicans are actually closet homosexuals, type thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
On the closet homosexuals and sex trafficking.
The sex
Whatever
traffic.
you're feeling.
Whatever you want.
Oh god.
Yeah.
This is a great interview.
Okay. Yeah. What are your thoughts on
just how it should be.
global crime, global crimes, and how America can help deal with them since we are technically recognized as the world police.
I don't think we should be like. How do I?
Kind of like how we dump what we pay for half of NATO, right? More or less.
Something like that. I think it's like 70%.
Yeah, we pay for a lot of
something.
NATO. So like, and NATO doesn't do anything. So
It does sometimes.
very rarely.
If you consider that NATO is basically all United States military.
Yeah.
It
So,
does
so
like
do
everything.
you think
Yeah.
do you think that NATO should be used for stuff besides just being like
NATO exists.
yeah.
I think we need to try and build more cooperation, like other people actually doing other countries actually helping us.
Okay.
Like everyone joins in on being the world police, I guess, type thing.
Okay. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
We're
And-
all in this together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interpol, after all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But how well does that go? Didn't they have like a huge leak a couple years ago?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Why are you asking me? This is
I
not
thought
my
they heard. Yeah. True.
What
Did
has
they
it?
have a huge Interpol leak 2 years ago?
Do you work for Interpol?
Okay, you're gonna have to cut this out because I have some top secret shit I'm gonna have to tell you about.
All right.
Otherwise, I'm gonna have to kill you.
Okay.
Oh, man.
What else?
Don't threaten me with a good time.
What are your thoughts on abortion?
I'm okay with it up to like just as an arbitrary number, like the 3rd trimester. I feel like there should be a point at which you can't get an abortion.
Okay.
Just like it's like at a certain point you're gonna have the fucking kid if you haven't made a decision by now.
Yeah. Regularly, it's up to what, 3 months? Yeah, it's up to 3 months. 3rd trimester is like.
That's called like a late-term abortion.
Which is
I
illegal.
don't really believe in.
I mean, like, so 1st, 2nd trimester, I think it's fine, but 3rd trimester, definitely by then.
So I'm down with super late term abortion. 4 years is probably my limit.
Jesus.
Well, I mean, in some forms of Buddhism, kids don't have souls until they're 5.
Oh.
Really?
Abort it
Well then.
before it has a soul.
Yeah, so
Then you can always abort it. You will never have a soul.
especially if they're a ginger.
Oh God.
Let's go kill your brother.
Before they start taking all the other souls.
Oh, God.
People to get their own.
Wow.
Alright.
Abortion.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. We just made abortion funny? Question mark.
Well, hey, if you can't make a joke about it, then it's not an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I get slightly annoyed when people start making jokes on fucking Facebook.
Yeah.
Just because sometimes it gets to a certain point, all we're doing is fucking joking around. We're not actually talking, solving what's going on.
Oh, okay. All right.
How do you feel about the concept that equality and liberty are inversely proportional?
I can see where I can understand the viewpoint. I think in certain cases it's not necessarily inversely proportional, but in a lot of cases it can be.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
So you would, that's something you would take if there was an issue with it. You would take it case by case.
Yes,
Okay.
it would have to be specific, something that some information you're laying out for me. Then I
Okay.
could
All
then
right.
I could render
All right.
opinion on that.
Do you feel that with this technological age, like the whole digital age of everybody being in communique with one another, do you feel it's drastically affected our political climate since our president is
I would
addicted to Twitter?
think so.
And, you know.
Basically, it makes fake news easier.
All right.
I mean, it makes it more easy to spread, and the people are idiots in general.
Okay.
So
All right.
the person is smart, the people are dumb.
Do
type thing.
you and with that, do you believe that mainstream media itself is becoming more and more unreliable, and that independent news sources like the one we are trying to create seem more viable?
I think you just have to be very careful when you're watching mainstream like cable news or
CNN.
Yeah, Fox News. Or just any or like
any
newspapers
news
or anything.
source,
You
really,
just have
yeah.
to be careful because I feel like they're doing like the perfect lies where it's like there's some truth in there.
Yeah.
So you just got to be very careful and just try to parse out what the exact actual truth in what they're trying to tell you is.
Oh, okay. All right. You just have to, like, not nitpick, but you have to, like...
It's better to have multiple sources, and if multiple differing sources have the same information, makes it more likely that it's true.
It's like
Just keep in mind that every source is going to cherry pick.
Yeah.
Go to multiple sources, specifically of different political ideologies, to make sure you get all the information.
Although in general, I will say, me personally, I try to stay away from things that are very obviously biased one way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like, I would trust Fox News, CNN to tell me something. I would just be very cautious about exactly how they're wording and stuff, what they're trying to spread.
And that's like politically, that's not just like news in general.
Not news in general, it's politics. Political news.
CNN lies about fires. Regarding, since you are no longer in California, the state of Jefferson and us separating into what was it, like 4 different states?
It was 6 at first, and then it became 3.
Oh, okay.
It did? I always thought it was just 2.
Wow. Okay, I've heard multiple different...
I feel like I read a statistic on this that
this is why you need more than... This is why you need more
there
than
was
one
like a
source,
proposal like once every year and a half or something for California to be broken up into a state ever since it became a state.
And that's all because of like water. Like currently it's because of water.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
I think
like, we want Alhambra over here and we want Dasani over here.
I think people have the right to break away and make their own government, make their own decisions.
Make their own government, not
I mean,
just
like
separate
state government, separate state government, not like leave.
All right. America.
I think not leave America.
And push
it somewhere else. Yeah. No, but the only thing that just seems kind of ridiculous to me is their argument that's like, oh, we're not represented enough in like state and federal government. It's like the reason for that is because it's based on population, and the place where you live has fucking no one. So separating yourself into a separate state isn't going to help the issue. Okay. But if you want to make your own separate state, go for it.
It doesn't matter. You're in Montana.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll never get a vote.
Oh yeah,
unless it's a constitution.
Now, see, me getting represented is kind of fucked up because I live in the most underrepresented state in the union. Because the next most populous state, Rhode Island, has like a few thousand more people, has 2 representatives in Congress, and we only have 1.
Wow.
And then we live right next to Wyoming that has no one, and they also have 1.
Yeah, I flew over Wyoming, and it was nothing but dirt hills.
So just other random tangent. I think that the House of Representatives, the way that districts are drawn, shouldn't be drawn irrespective of
the
state boundaries.
Okay.
If Wyoming had a nickel for every time someone said I flew over Wyoming, they'd have enough money to build an airport.
Is there seriously no airport in Wyoming?
There probably is.
Yeah. All right. So regarding the fact that you're a Montanian.
Montanian.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Trump? Well, when Trump went to Montana, I think this month or last month.
Really? I thought it was later that he was gonna go.
Oh, no, because there's footage of him like there, and
yeah.
And your governor or your representative, someone from your state, was like, oh, welcome Trump, and thanks for helping out Montana and representing us fairly and all that.
Oh, I think that was our senator that everyone's all up in arms about.
Yeah, and then Trump shit all over him. What are your thoughts on that?
He did.
He did. He straight up. It was the utter disrespect after the Montana senator was like, "Welcome Trump, and thank you for all you do."
Well, I mean, the whole
story
was because our senator was the one who raised the whole deal about the White House doctor being like a drug dealer, basically.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's why he didn't.
To be fair, who does Trump really show respect for?
Mike Pence.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Pence. Let's be honest, Mike Pence is the one who's in charge of America right now.
All right.
Mike Pence is the emperor, and
it's like
Trump is Darth Vader.
It's like the SNL sketch whenever they have Steve Bannon show up, it's actually Pence. And Trump is just sitting in the desk playing with that big old expanding ball thing. Of course, I didn't even really answer
your voice
that
is on recording now. Yeah, might as well.
would you consider yourself an anarchist?
Fuck no.
Okay.
I think a government is inevitable as like a human social construct that needs to exist for us to organize our society.
Question.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on, like, do you think the federal government should play a more active role in in our country, or do you think they should back off a little more and let the states have more control?
In a perfect world, I would say the federal government could back off.
Okay.
But I think given the world we live in, there needs to be more cooperation.
Okay.
Like, it just seems like everyone's always at each other's throats about whatever. And
All right. What are your thoughts on people wanting to, I guess you could say, yes, censor groups like Antifa and groups like Black Lives Matter?
no, when we're saying censor them, we're saying that these groups are censoring or people are censoring these groups. Or does it work either way?
I guess it could work
Censoring
either way.
in general, I guess.
Yes, and
Yeah.
your thoughts on, like, censorship? Like, in Canada, they passed a bill C-16, and basically it states that if you do not use someone's preferred pronoun regarding gender, that you can actually face a fine. If you go to a university, you can be kicked out of that university.
That sounds retarded.
Okay,
I think
okay,
you should be
alright.
able to say what you want.
Yeah. Okay.
You should be respectful about it,
Okay.
if anything.
All right. And regarding censoring groups like Antifa or Black Lives Matter, censoring.
Or just anyone who's censoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think we should go about either dealing with those groups? Do we give those groups representation even though they've used violence to get their point across? Like, what was it last year? Black Lives Matter blocked a highway and proceeded to throw Molotov cocktails at cop cars.
No,
I didn't know about that.
anyone
You
involved
really?
in
That's why people are like, oh, yeah, this is
that
why
they're terrorists now.
Black Lives Matter is now, I think, actually recognized as a domestic terrorist.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've been looking at that.
I feel like if anything, I don't know enough about it to talk on that. It's not my interview, so.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you say the question again? Like
what
just
was
the gist of it.
What are your thoughts on the groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter censoring and us trying to shut those groups down and people seeing it as a form of us censoring? Because technically it's their freedom of speech
Yeah.
to protest, but
I think
also
you
them
I think you
censoring us
can
with their
express
protest.
whatever rights you have up until the point that it's interfering with someone else's rights.
Okay. All right.
So basically,
peaceful
with them
protesting
getting violent and stuff, and yeah,
Okay.
I think that they should
be shut down.
they should face some kind of punishment for that.
Okay. All right.
Like I said, with the whole censoring free speech, you need to be respectful about it.
Okay.
So
Do you think we should fight that sort of behavior by censoring them, or simply by
well, I guess the real question to my
repressing the violent tendencies, but keeping them at
Violence begets violence.
right?
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
I guess the real question to me, as I'm thinking about it, is does someone lose their rights if they start attacking someone else's rights? Basically,
That's a good question. What do you
Yeah.
think about that?
I think that
We can come back to that at a later date.
I guess for the short answer right now, I would say that we should be suppressing them because, like, if you commit a crime, then you get to then
You
you
lose your
lose
rights
some
as
of
an
your
individual,
you
yeah.
lose certain of your rights. So since they're committing a crime by interfering with other people's rights,
Okay.
then they should also lose their rights,
All right.
like certain, not all their rights,
Okay.
Specific ones.
specific.
Like the right of like freedom of movement, obviously. Like
There's-
you get
yeah.
taken to prison.
All right.
Yeah.
You know, and
All right. I think that does it.
All right.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Madly a Political Statement. This has been Russ and Kevin. We will see you in the next episode. And Nick. Yeah, and Nick.
And audience.
And audience. All right, goodbye.